Hello, podcast family. Hope you guys are having a great day. Welcome back to a new episode of Design Break Podcast. I'm your host, Rocky Roark, and today we are tackling a serious and increasing prevalent issue in our community, and that is the epidemic of bogus leads. We are going to delve into the world of fake leads on platforms like Dribbble, Behance, and other social platforms, and the rise of scams targeting freelancers, including what I've termed the monkey pox scam. Now, this episode is especially crucial for freelancers at all levels, as these scams have far-reaching implications on our careers, businesses, and of course, livelihoods. But before we tackle this issue of bogus leads, let's talk about something a bit more fun and cheerful, and that is Creative South. So Creative South, if you guys have not heard, and you may have heard in the last episode, is a design conference that's been a cornerstone of my creative journey. It's an annual gathering where designers and creatives unite and exchange ideas and ignite inspiration. The 2024 Creative South Conference promises an array of enriching speakers, workshops, invaluable for anyone navigating the freelancing landscape, as well as any creative career as well. It's a perfect blend of practical skills, networking, and authentic industry insights. Tickets are available now for Creative South 2024 at www.creativesouth.com. Don't miss out on the opportunity for enriching your creative career and connecting with fellow professionals like this one right here. I will definitely be there, along with, I believe, the entire Blue Cyclops team. So I will see you there. All right, so let's jump into today's topic. Imagine this. You are browsing through your latest notifications on Dribbble or even Behance, whichever one you prefer, and you see a new project inquiry. It seems promising, but as you delve deeper into it, you realize it's just another scam. Just in the last few weeks, I encountered this situation 3 times. Actually, let me rephrase that. Not 3 times. This was as I was writing the script. It actually happened a 4th time just this morning as I'm getting ready to jump in here and record this episode. It's a growing concern that we as freelancers need to be vigilant about. These scams are not just frustrating, they can be detrimental to our business in numerous ways. So in our first segment, we are going to explore how popular platforms like Dribbble and Behance, and I've even seen it, of course, Instagram and Twitter are huge breeding grounds for this, have become this perfect environment for scam artists and these horrible bogus leads. You know, we'll discuss through this episode the nature of these scams, how they operate, and why they're becoming more frequent. So let's get started with this by just me sharing with you my own experience. So I generally don't get a whole lot of leads anymore on Dribbble. As I've mentioned in the past on previous episodes, we're actually renewing our efforts on Dribbble. I want to see in the next 3 months if we can possibly revitalize our efforts there and see if it is worth our time and energy or not. Hopefully, I'll be sharing an episode about that in the future. But as I'm doing so, I've been seeing a couple of leads trickle in here and there. And so far, out of the 3 new leads that I've gotten from Dribbble in the last, let's say, 3 to 4 weeks, all of them have been scams. I'm sad to say. But this in particular, this interesting one is, in fact, what I call the monkeypox scam. It has come through not only Dribbble, it's come through, I believe, my website. Actually, someone tried sending this lead in through my website. And on top of that, and this was right after each other, on top of that, I got a referral that was this scam. Now, the person that referred the project to me had no idea. They just thought that I might be a good fit, that Blue Cyclops might be a good fit, so they reached out. The more I dived in, the more I realized it was the exact same scam as what we originally saw. So the first time I kind of like saw this scam pop up was on Dribbble. Somebody had sent in about a possible project, and I basically flat out told them, hey, sorry, unfortunately, I'm not interested in this right now, but I wish you best of luck. Well, they responded to that message. Evidently, the scammer was using some sort of bot, and it didn't recognize the exact language that I used. And so it went ahead and sent the full list of the parameters of the project. You could kind of see very quickly, I was like, this is formatted weird. What they were looking for was really, it didn't make much sense. I think the thing that triggered the bot to send out the message was I told them that unfortunately the budget would start at X dollars. And so this would not be something that we would be able to tackle. And because I put that in there, it then recognized it and it included that amount in the actual response. And so it was just really weird as I was reading through it. The thing that really jumped out to me, especially at the end of the response, was that the specific line. This line is something that popped up over and over again in every single one of these scammer responses or these bogus leads. And I'm going to read it to you verbatim. I actually have it pulled up here. What would be your preferred mode of payment? I'm proposing a certified bank draft, a cashier's check, or a bank certified check, considering the amount involved. I look forward to reading from you soon. Now, this was the same response that I saw over and over again across the board. That exact same thing. It was copy and paste every single time. The bits of the project might have changed, but that specific line kept popping up. And usually what they would say that the topic was for was illustrations for some sort of educational webinar or workshop. And what I kept seeing popping up, at least in two of these, was monkeypox. So hence the reason why I called it the monkeypox scam. And so you really have to watch out for it. And the thing is, as you see more and more of these come in, you'll see certain identifiers. So actually, I'm going to jump over to Dribbble just so I can see. I'm not showing my screen or anything like that. But I just had one of these pop up today, actually, like I said. And the other thing, too, that they add in to this is they've added in type of work, freelance, time, within the next week. This is the exact same thing that I've been seeing across the board, is they format these things like this. And they might even have another third row that says like budget like $800 or something like that. And so you have to really watch out for these types of leads that pop up. Now, this is not just something that's happening on Dribbble. Like I said, it's happening in Dribbble. The referral that I got was from Behance. The person who sent me the lead, they actually got the message in their Behance messages. And then I've also gotten it directly into my website form. So it's really kind of getting scary out there, the fact that these scams are hitting all of these different platforms and hitting in different ways. And, the one thing I also did notice was that they're not exactly the same. Some of the wording is different. Some of the information is different. However, they always follow the same exact thing, which talks about a certified bank transfer or something along those lines. Now, with that, this is not just the only scam out there. In fact, as I posted, I believe, on Twitter, and I posted on LinkedIn about this, so many people were responding. So many people were sharing their own experiences. Someone was like, yeah, I just got 5 of these in my inbox this morning. So you can see that it's not just me, it's not just you that might be experiencing it, but a lot of people out there are experiencing it as we speak. And so from just what I've been seeing from talking to other creatives, some of the scams have different, there's different types of them. So here's a list of some of the ones that we've seen from other people. So there's the payment advance scams, the scams involving clients asking freelancers to pay an upfront fee to access a project or supposed supplies needed for the job, promising reimbursement later. Now, this is something that, some people are seeing, not many. I think this is more for people who are doing maybe handcrafted work, but I have seen a few of these where they ask you to upfront the cost. This is why we always tell freelancers, always get payment up front, at least 50% of your payment up front before starting a project, and make that payment non-refundable. Always include that in your in your contracts and your proposals. The other things we're seeing are phishing scams. Scammers pose as potential clients and send emails or messages with links that lead to fake login pages designed to steal your personal and financial information. They also include different things like PDFs downloads or zip file downloads. And what happens is when you download them or when you click on them, it downloads a virus onto your computer, and then they can basically spy on your computer, and you do not want that. Other ones include overpayment scams. A client sends a check for more than what the agreed amount was, and then requests the excess be returned. Later, the original check bounces, leaving the freelancer out of pocket, meaning basically they get all the work for free and they get direct money from you. You do not want this to happen. There's work for free scams. Again, another example, clients requesting a sample piece or a complete project as a test before hiring with no intention of paying for the work or hiring the freelancer. We see this actually with full-blown jobs, not just freelancers, but jobs as well, where sometimes companies who are not the most legal in mind, they'll have designers do a test project only to use that test as the final work and then just say, oh, sorry, we're not going to hire you. You didn't make the cut. And so basically they get free work out of the designer or creative. So please be aware of that. There's fake project scams. Scammers post fake projects to collect bids from freelancers, aiming to gather personal data or charge fees for job applications or memberships. And so these are ways of certain websites to get people to sign up, like, oh, we can find you work, you only have to pay a small fee, and most, if not half, if not most of the leads that you get are all fake, and it's just geared towards getting money from you. There's impersonation scams. Scammers impersonate reputable companies or individuals offering fake job opportunities to extract sensitive information or even money, application fees and things like that. Subscription scams. These involve offering a chance to bid on exclusive projects for which the freelancer needs to pay a subscription or membership fee, often leading nowhere. Please be aware of these. And then, of course, there's identity theft, malware theft, etc. Understanding these scams and what's out there and what things could happen to freelancers is very important. So you have to remember to protect yourselves from potential fraud on all of these platforms, as well as in your email. Always make sure to check their email addresses. Always make sure if things are misspelled, if things don't seem right, don't click on links. There are many ways that they can trip you up, and you do not want this to happen. So now let's talk about the impact of scams on freelancers. Let's talk about, falling prey to a scam isn't just a hit to your wallet. It affects your confidence, your time, your trust in the freelance ecosystem. It's a problem that can leave lasting scars on your professional life. The emotional impact, including just like the frustration and loss in confidence. That's probably one of the best akin feelings, is dealing with a client from hell who has drained you of all of your emotions, who drained you of, your time, your energy. The same thing could be said about a scam or some sort of bogus project or lead. It's very frustrating, and it can really affect you. The financial risks, associated with falling for these scams can also be very draining. These people aren't just going after, $50 here or $100 there. Sometimes they're going after thousands and thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, both in actual money or at least in the work that is associated with it. That's why you can never take on projects that don't pay you at least some money up front. I do not take on any project that does not pay me 50% up front. I also do not start work on any project until they have paid that upfront payment. And as I said again, make it non-refundable. That way, they can't just get a little bit of work out of you and then pull the plug and then go to someone else, or just, request a refund altogether. But there's also the impact of time and resources, especially if you aren't just a one-person freelance shop. If you have a team, for instance, with the referral scam that I received. I actually was already planning in my head. I was like, oh yeah, I can allocate, these specific tasks to this person. I can put this person in charge of the project. I can do this. I can do that. And next thing I know, I read it through it and I'm like, oh my God, this is a scam. I'm so glad I didn't start allocating time and resources to this. Or I'm so glad that I didn't fall for it. But honestly, the broader effect on all of this is trust within the freelancing ecosystem. The fact that, it makes it harder for us to trust new people without vetting them, honestly, it makes sense, but it also is a bit sad. So for instance, one thing that you can do, and this is sometimes very time consuming, but this will also help to knock out these scams very quickly, is to always have a qualifying meeting with all potential leads. So this isn't just about finding out information via email or via message in one of these platforms. It's also about going through and having a discussion with the person individually. Now, some big red flags with that is, number one, they're not on camera. No matter what, I have meetings where I'm not on camera. But when it comes to a qualifying meeting or something like beginning of a project, kickoff call, whatever, I'm always on a video call. And that's because I want people to be able to see me. I want them to know that I'm real, that I, am honest and genuine and everything like that. And so I want to see the same thing from potential clients. If they are just audio and no video, that is a big red flag for me. That tends to drop the quality of the lead. You also have to think about, where is the lead coming from? Who is the person that is talking about it? If they seem like they, are disheveled, or they don't know what they're talking about, or they're just trying to get off the call as quickly as possible, then those are huge red flags to watch out for. So this actually leads perfectly into the next part of this, which is safeguarding yourself and recognizing these red flags and best practices. I kind of got ahead of myself a bit and started talking about this, but you have to make sure that you are watching out for red flags, that you have specific strategies in place to vet potential clients, to vet potential work, and making sure that you don't run into these. And so in this section, I'll provide actionable advice on how freelancers can protect themselves from these scams, including verifying client identity and maintaining healthy skepticism. Like I said, we've already gone over this about qualifying calls and things like that. And so one of the ways that you can really vet any client, this is what I tend to do every time that I get a new lead in, besides setting up a qualifying meeting, the first thing that I do is I actually head over to LinkedIn and I try and find the individual that I'm speaking to and try and match up a face to a name. Because a lot of times when you get an email from someone, usually there's no photo avatar with their name. And so you have to go back in and actually look up and see who this person is, making sure that they're from the company that they say they are. Now, sometimes scammers, they do identity theft. They steal the identity of these people and they use them in these scams. But still, it's always good to go and look up and see if the person is on LinkedIn. Because if the person is not on LinkedIn, that's a red flag right there. Because if they are working on building a business or building a startup, they should be on LinkedIn. They should have a profile. They should be talking about their company regularly. And so that is definitely a place that you can look them up. The other place too that you can look at is Twitter. I stay away from Instagram because Instagram isn't the best way of vetting somebody. And even Twitter is becoming kind of a cesspool when it comes to just the amount of people and bots that are on there. So you just have to watch out with that. But I always start with vetting someone on LinkedIn. And then the other thing that I will do is I will then go and look at the email that the person used. Now, sometimes people will use fake emails. They'll make them very close to what the email should be. And one way of testing this is, let's take a random name, Roger. Let's say Roger works at Google. Let's say Google. Google's a good example. Now, when I go and look at the email that was sent, it says something like Roger at newbusinessgoogle.com. That doesn't sound quite right. So then I'm going to look up on LinkedIn. I'm going to see, there is a Roger with the same last name. He does work at Google. Okay, good. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to then go and type in roger@google.com or roger.name or r.lastname at google.com and see if he pops up. Now, this is an interesting way. This is actually a good way for doing cold emails, is by doing this, you can kind of see if an avatar pops up, you found the person. And you know that this is a good email for them if they have an avatar. And so I do the same thing when it comes to these, just in case if I'm digging deeper. Now, sometimes if I see that the email is wrong, it's not the correct email that it should be, I instantly know that's a scam. And, especially with Google, newbusinessgoogle.com, that's not right. So you have to really watch out for these. But sometimes scammers can be a bit tricky. But the important thing is to always maintain a professional level of skepticism without comprising your potential genuine opportunity. Now, the last thing I'm going to really kind of discuss here about all of this is that the different platforms like Dribbble, Behance, they really could do a lot more to help protect their members, protect their users from these types of scams. Because of the fact that they're becoming more prevalent and so many people are experiencing them on a daily basis, there's things that they could be doing a bit better. There could be things of like creating accounts that could be a lot easier. A lot harder for these scam artists. I remember Dribbble, when Dribbble was invite only. I think they still would allow people to go on there to find designers, but it made it a lot harder for scam artists to do it. I remember I didn't get a lot of scams when I first was on Dribbble. Now it's like every other day. It almost seems like that's what we're getting. But currently the measures in place for these platforms against scams, I don't feel like they're working very well, especially if so many people are having problems. Then I feel like the platforms themselves have to be more vigilant against what's going on. And so, in that regard, we too, as designers, as freelancers, we need to be vigilant. When you have one of these scams pop up, if you know or believe it is a scam, hit the report button on it. Don't just go in and delete it or, say no to it. Go ahead and send a report to the platform. Send a report to Dribbble, to Behance, to Adobe, whatever, and make sure that they know that these scams are out there. All right, I think that's it for today's episode. Hopefully you found this entertaining and hopefully you found it instructional about battling these crazy scams that are popping up, the crazy influx of different bogus leads that are popping up, including the monkeypox scam. Next thing you know, there's going to be a whole nother one popping up there because of people like myself reporting on these things. So just remember though, in conclusion to this, stay informed and vigilant. Regularly educate yourself about the latest scams targeting freelancers. Follow trusted industry blogs or freelance communities and participate in forums in which you can find and kind of stay informed, is basically your first line of defense for this. And again, report and share your experiences, report them to the platforms themselves, but also share them on Twitter, share them on LinkedIn, share them where you are seeing them pop up. And please implement some sort of verification process in your pipeline, in your sales pipeline, so that, whether it is a video call to go over the specifics of a project, to, qualify the lead, do something that is going to secure your business, secure your future. And that basically wraps up this week's episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, if it resonates with you, I encourage you to share it with fellow freelancers and designers in your network, especially those who might be seeing these scams popping up. Your engagement and feedback. If you have any feedback for this episode or ideas for future episodes, please feel free to share them below in the comments on YouTube. If you guys are not subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel, both on YouTube and also to wherever you're getting your podcasting fix for Design Break. But I want to thank you all for joining me on this episode. More episodes are coming. We're already working on more content for the new year, which is fast approaching. But I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And always remember to stay passionate, stay positive, and stay creative. That's it for me, everybody. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.